Coming up on today's episode of Airborne Unlimited, flight design LSA manufacturer is facing financial challenges. Airline pilot pleads not guilty to flying while intoxicated. A think tank challenges the drone registration law. I'm Bree Cross. It's February 23, 2016, and this is Airborne Unlimited. Flight Design, one of the first aircraft manufacturers to enter into the special light sport aircraft production business, appears to be in financial distress. Following several months of concern over delayed shipments and orders from the parent company responsible for the Flight Design LSA and sport aircraft line, word has come confirming that the company is facing serious financial difficulties. Completely separate from the U.S.-based Flight Design USA, the German parent company is not out of business, but will reportedly attempt to reorganize using a system similar to the Chapter 11 filing in the U.S. However, published reports by persons claiming to have made significant payments and deposits may be years in arrears. Numerous sources suggest that the present maladies were hastened by a cash flow problem brought on when an order of considerable value was not paid for in a timely manner, leaving Flight Design with a significant problem in maintaining proper flow. Recently, Flight Design USA told ANN that it had secured an alternative manufacturing partner for the Flight Design CT series of light sport aircraft, a partner that also has a role in the four-place C4 program. ANN will be interviewing Flight Design USA's Tom Pegany and others shortly. We look forward to bringing some clarity to this matter as those discussions take place. A former pilot for Alaska Airlines has pleaded not guilty to charges of operating an airliner while under the influence of alcohol. The pilot, David Arntson, is accused of flying from San Diego International Airport to Portland International Airport and then to John Wayne Airport in Orange County, California, while under the influence of alcohol in June of 2014. Arntson was selected for a random drug test after landing in Orange County. It's reported that two separate tests found his blood alcohol level of 0.134% and 0.142%. FAA regulations state that a pilot shall not report for duty or remain on duty with a blood alcohol concentration of 0.04% or greater. Arntson was removed from duty by Alaska Airlines, and the carrier said he refused to submit to an investigatory interview. In a statement last month, the airliner said that he had left the company, quote, before we were able to complete an investigation that would have led to his termination. After the break, lawsuit claims model aircraft may not be regulated.
Redbird is quickly becoming the industry standard for flight training. Since Redbird introduced its revolutionary FMX in 2007, colleges, universities, and flight training operations around the world have integrated Redbird products into their curriculum. It's time to discover what Redbird can do for you. Join the migration.
Welcome back. If you have a story suggestion for Airborne Unlimited, Aero-TV, our website or podcast, just email to news-spy@aero-news.net. A second lawsuit against the FAA related to its UAV registration rule has been filed in the District of Columbia Court of Appeals. According to a Forbes magazine article, the issue of the lawsuit revolves around the FAA reauthorization bill that was approved in 2012. Section 336 of the 2012 law has a section that prohibits the agency from creating, quote, any rule or regulation regarding a model aircraft. It's reported the suit was filed by the think tank Tech Freedom, who claims the FAA has exceeded its authority because the new rule requires the registration of the individual who owns the aircraft rather than the aircraft itself. The group says that because the FAA did not provide public notice or an opportunity for public comment on the rule, its implementation was, quote, arbitrary, capricious, and abuse of discretion. On their Facebook page, Tech Freedom says their purpose is to embrace technological change, pushing back against the technocrats who fear it and reactionaries who would control it. Every Tuesday, we look ahead at some of the more interesting events in the aviation universe. Here is this week's Aero-Calendar. Seaplane specialist Whip Air is holding their Whip Air Safety Seminar on February 27th in Leesburg, Florida. Seminar topics will include land plane and seaplane topics, docking, stall spin accidents and prevention, the ADS-B 2020 mandate, and Canadian operations. There will even be a Fireboss water drop demonstration. It's that time again for the Planes, Trains, and Automobiles event being held at the Plant City Municipal Airport in Plant City, Florida. The event takes place on February 27th and will include planes, helicopters, remote control planes, model trains, and automobiles. Free flights for kids will be provided by the EAA Young Eagles program. Free Flight Aviation will be offering a free seminar on Saturday, February 27th at the Flying W Airport in Medford, New Jersey on the subject of UAVs, UAS, and drones. They will discuss the differences of these systems, the regulatory rules related to hobby sport versus commercial operations, FAA registration rules for these vehicles, terrorist concerns, and insurance recommendations. And here's the big one for the end of the month. Starting on February 29th and running through March 3rd, it's the HAI HeliExpo 2016. This year it's being held in Louisville, Kentucky, and is the premier event featuring everything related to the world of vertical lift flight. Hundreds of vendors will be there, and the latest developments in vertical lift flight will be on display, accompanied by numerous forums and hundreds of products and service vendors. A&N will also be there to bring you all the news. After these messages, Qatar Airways says Pratt&Whitney has engine problems.
Concorde's recombinant gas RG series sealed battery technology produces a high-performance battery with the advantages of being pre-tested and fully charged at the factory. Find out more about Concorde's entire line of batteries at www.concordebattery.com. Concorde, the heart of your aircraft.
Sandia introduces the new SAI 340 Quattro TSO'd airspeed, attitude, altitude, and slip. With integral backup battery, safety never looked so good. See it now at www.sandia.aero.
There's a difference between charting a steady course and pushing for the ceiling. And for nearly a century, Hartzell Propeller has been defining that difference. It's in our passion for engineering and research and our dedication to testing the limits of performance. We are built on honor. We are Hartzell Propeller.
Welcome back. With so much news coming out of the aviation industry, we're summarizing some other interesting stories in a brief segment we call Around the Patch. It was reported last week that Qatar Airways is talking about canceling its order with Pratt&Whitney for engines to be hung on its fleet of A320neo airplanes. Qatar's chief executive said they are refusing to accept the airplanes because of engine problems. Allegiant Airlines had a bad day Sunday, getting a flight from Fargo, North Dakota to Las Vegas. It's reported the original aircraft canceled because of a maintenance issue, and the replacement plane was deemed not to be airworthy. Full refunds are expected. Rolls-Royce is about to deliver its 100th Trent XWB engine, which will enter service on a Singapore Airlines A350 XWB. The engine dispatch marks another milestone in the ramp-up of Trent XWB production at Derby in the UK. Drones flying dangerously close to an airport continues to be a problem. The FAA has now partnered with Homeland Security and CACI International to explore prototype detection technology that may help detect unmanned drones in the vicinity of the airports. The Arizona legislature is considering legislation that would set statewide regulations for the use of UAVs and prevent local municipalities from creating their own drone laws. Yet another state is creating drone regulations in the void left from no coherent FAA regulatory action. Well, that's the trip around the patch. Now let's move on to the rest of the news. As in-flight connectivity becomes a more common passenger service, the competition for that business intensifies. American Airlines is mulling whether to drop Gogo in-flight internet service from its fleet, and the prospect has caused Gogo stock to drop sharply. Business insiders report that American has notified Gogo that it has received a competitive bid from Viasat. It's reported that American's contract with Gogo allows the airline to terminate the contract if it gets a better deal from another provider. American has reportedly asked a judge to uphold that provision. However, the airline told Business Insider that Gogo may submit a new proposal to stay on board its airliners, and at that time the airline would have, quote, evaluate all of our options. Gogo said that American is a valued customer and that it is looking forward to, quote, resolving the disagreement regarding the contract interpretation that led to this declaratory judgment action. Well, that's our program for today. Remember to get comprehensive, real-time, 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at aero-news.net. Remember that Airborne Unlimited is streamed daily Monday through Friday. with additional breaking news bulletins for important stories that fall outside of our normal deadlines. Please join us and a growing roster of over 100 outstanding industry associations and organizations every weekday for the best in aviation and aerospace news from the staff of the Aero-News Network, the aviation world's most comprehensive news and information resource.